Hi folks, it's Bob from Mountain Crest Farms. Here today to do a video for y'all about redoing the brake system, the front brake system on a Yamaha ATV. Been riding this thing for a year with no brakes. And I think it's about time I was able to stop when I wanted to and instead of when I could find an uphill to slow me down. Hang around. I'll show y'all how to fix the brakes on an ATV. Hey folks, real quick before the video gets started, let me ask a favor of you. If you like this video, hit that little thumbs up down there below the video. And after you look around at some of the other videos on my channel, if you like the channel, subscribe. And when you subscribe, if you'll hit that little bell beside the subscribe button, that bell will give you notification every time I do a video. So with that, let's get on with today's videos, okay? Okay, folks. This is the second time I've done this. When I first was taking the caliper off to rebuild it, I managed to delete that clip, and I'm not going to take it off again, but I will show you what you need to know to get one of these calipers off. It's real easy, and it's about the same on most ATVs, motorcycles, even cars. The only thing you're going to run into different is sometimes the caliper will be back on the back side of the disc instead of the front. But other than that, to get a caliper off so you can rebuild it, or even if you're not rebuilding it and you just want to change the pads in it, there's usually two bolts. One right back here hiding behind the brake line. One right down here, same place on the bottom edge, and then you got to take the brake line loose. Now, when you take this brake line loose, let me warn you right now, that brake line has two brass washers, one between the brake line and the caliper, one between the brake line and the nut that holds it up in there. Do not lose those washers. If you lose those washers, you can't tighten the brake line tight enough that it doesn't leak. So make sure you keep track of those washers when you take your brake line loose. I like to take the caliper off first and then turn it up to where I can see good as I'm taking the brake line off. Take it off whatever order you want to, but just make sure you don't lose those washers. Alright, now let's go see how you rebuild a caliper. To rebuild this caliper, you're going to need three things, not two, three things. Brake cleaner, an Allen wrench, and I don't know what size, I just kept trying them till one fit, and a piece of paper towel. That's it. That and the new parts. Set of brake pads, and a rebuild kit for the caliper. Oh, excuse me, you do have one more tool you need. A knife. So the first thing you do is pull the pads are held in by these two bolts, and they are Allen bolts. And you try not to drop your tools on the ground like I just did. When you get those out, those are what hold pads in. So you turn it over and you get your pads out. Now, what you see here is all that's left of the pads from both sides, front left, and front right wheel. That's what was left. I think you'll agree I needed to replace them. But if they don't look too bad to you there, that's 4 pads. That's 2 new ones. So, first thing you do, get the trash out of the way, get the new pads out of the way. You do not set them completely out of the way. You do not want to get brake cleaner on them. Your rebuild kit to rebuild the caliper is 3 pieces. There's the new cup, okay, which is replacing this cup. Should slide in and out a little bit better. And 2 seals, 2 rubber seals. Now let's talk about these seals for a minute. There are 2 flat seals, different thicknesses. Let's talk about these seals. If you look on the top of the master cylinder on most ATVs, no, I'm not even going to say on most, I'm going to say on mine, on Yamaha, it says use .4, not .3. Use .4 brake fluid only. Well, I'm telling you from experience, use .4 only. For some reason, .3 will eat up these seals, and you'll be rebuilding your calipers again. You'll squeeze the brakes, and you won't have any brakes, and the fluid will all be out on the ground. So, those 2 seals right there are right here. Just take the tip of your knife, or other sharp object, get it up under the edge of one of the seals. And I'm not doing a very good job of showing y'all how to do this. I'm showing you how to not be successful. There we go. That one got started. There, that one went easy. There's one. That one was sticking in there because of the wrong fluid. So there's your 2 old seals. Give a quick wipe inside here to get stuff out. Junk, grunge, pieces of just anything. At this point, take this bolt, the one that was holding the brake line on, take it out. Don't lose these 2 washers, or you will have a leak. And the first thing I do is clean this bolt out. See, what happens is you've got fluid coming out of your line into here, into this hole, and then out of this bolt into the caliper. And that's what makes it push. Well, you want this clean. And you don't want to lose those washers. Now, put that aside. Right here where it screws in. Brake cleaner down in there. Brake cleaner in there. You don't have to let it sit for very long. Dump the excess out. And do a really good job of cleaning. Do a really, really good job of cleaning. And get all that brake cleaner out of there. You want the brake cleaner on your paper towel. You don't want the brake cleaner down in there. Wipe this off good so that your brake line will seal. Okay. Now, you put these in. and they're a little bit aggravating to do. You've just got to put it in, get all of it down in the hole, and then get one part of it actually lined up with the groove where it needs to go, and then hold that part while you work the rest of it in, going around. Like I said, my big old foam finger. Well, start it over. If my big old fumble fingers can do this, then virtually anybody can. You could figure that I got the camera on while I'm doing this. Like I told you earlier, doing the right side. I've already done the left side. And it took me about 30 seconds to pop this thing in. But now, since the camera's on, looks like we're shooting for 30 minutes, doesn't it? Don't do what I'm doing. It's a dirty tool down in, because you don't want it dirty down in the caliper. It looks good, doesn't it? Nope. Because that right there, it's rolled over. And if you do that, you'll be replacing it really soon. Shouldn't do this with a knife, because if I cut it, I'll be replacing it really soon. Okay, folks. I will be back in just a minute after I get in. I'm turning the camera and the audio off while I put this in. Number one, so you won't be hearing me cuss. And number two, I won't be wasting my camera battery. I'll be back in a bit. Okay, as it turns out, I need one more tool. Marble Mystery Oil. Well, same thing, 3-in-1 oil. Slick that thing up, that seal up, and it went right in. Anyway, so once you've got the seal in, remember this caliper rebuild kit is just the 2 seals and this cup. Don't get dirty. So put it right there and make sure it goes straight, because you don't want to roll one of those seals out. Okay, once the cup is in, then you have your brake pads, which are identical. Doesn't matter. You want one to go in like this, and fit down. And take these two and put them back in, and make sure they come through these holes down here at the bottom. That's what holds them in. And there's a spring in the bottom of these calipers. So you have to push down at the same time that you are trying to get those through. And you don't push them all the way through, just enough to hold that one pad in. There you go. Okay, and then the other pad goes in here. And guess what? There's not enough room, and even if there was enough room, the disc has to go through there, right? Make sure the oil's all off your hands. And push that cup farther in. Don't worry, it'll come out when the hydraulic pressure hits it. So, the cup needs to be in far enough that you get these back out of the way, but still holding that first pad, and then you put the second pad in. And like the first one, there's a spring down there. You need to be holding it down and get the bolts through the holes so it's in. Okay, once those are in, just tighten them up with these. That's what holds them in. So these Allen bolts, screw them back down. Those are in. There's still not room in there, right? That's because, see, there's room for this back one to slide back, but there's a spring. But there's room for it to slide back up against the face of that cup you just put in there. Don't worry about that for right now. For right now, snug one down. Snug the other one down. Then tighten it and tighten it. So that's it on rebuilding a caliper. All it is, rebuilding the caliper, is those two seals right here and the old cup. Take them out, clean it good, replace them, and put your new pads in. Now we'll go back and put it back on the bike. Alright, when you're putting this back together, don't put the caliper on. The easy thing would be to put the caliper on and then the brake line. Don't do that. At least start the brake line, and the reason is you want to make sure that that washer is centered. So you put the washer there, you get the brake line. There's always a little notch right here. That's where the brake line goes. And there. And then put your brake line on. From here, in case my camera dies, because it's about out of juice, if it dies before I get this all back together, it's just the reverse of taking it apart. But let's see if we can't get it on before the camera dies. The only thing that's going to be difficult on this is making sure that those are spread far enough so they'll slide over the disc. Nope, not a problem at all. So, slides over the disc, line up the holes. We're going to put this brake line on wrong, because when you put it in that groove, like I showed you, it gets the way of the caliper going. I don't know, this is an aftermarket caliper. It's what was on it when I bought it. Now, do not lose that pressure. So I'm going to turn this and go this way, and then let the brake line fall right here. And with that, then this other gets easy. Now let's try to get them tight. That one's tight. That one's tight. And that one's tight. So now, new pads, rebuilt caliper, both sides. That is how you do the front discs on most, not all, but on most ATVs, and actually a motorcycle is pretty much the same way. So, hope y'all enjoyed it. Well, folks, that's about it on how to rebuild a caliper and put new pads in on an ATV's disc brakes. A little hint on finding parts inexpensively. I got the caliper rebuild kits and the pads off of Amazon. Turned out that was the least expensive place I could find it. But even on Amazon, let me give you a hint. First thing you do is get the part number, and don't put in like Yamaha 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you do that, it'll pull up Yamaha OEM parts, and they'll be expensive. But if you just put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Amazon recognizes that that's a Yamaha part number. The way the part number is styled, they'll recognize it, and they'll take you to the Yamaha part again, but there will also be aftermarket parts. Then you have to decide for yourself whether or not you think they're quality parts. But I usually don't get parts for my Yamaha from Amazon. I usually get them from a place called Partzilla, PARTZILLA.com. They carry parts for all kind of ATVs, motorcycles, UTVs. They're a good source. But on anything that I don't mind aftermarket, I'll go to Amazon. And you can save some money. Just put in the part number, not the brand and the part number. And that's about it. And like I always say, y'all got to remember two things. Number one, the tomb was empty. And number two, he is alive. I'll see y'all next time. Don't forget to subscribe and give me a little thumbs up. And when you subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notified that when I put a new video up. Y'all have a fantastic day. Okay?